Hello everyone, Manithrow here. Welcome back to the Saturday suggestion video. I have a few ideas I want to discuss in today's video actually. One deals with what I'm doing right now, and that is player reports. Sending out a few voyages because I need to obviously get it going. This is for my hardcore. So it'd be nice to be able to get that done as soon as possible and get that going. But the idea for this one is actually something that I've seen suggested before, and it had a mixed review of reactions from players. Some players were strongly for it, some players were strongly against it, and what it is actually, if you haven't heard of the companion, what this would do is it would take you'd be able to log in and you'd be able to go to your port section, and you would actually be able to edit and send out your ports, as you actually had it, as if you were actually in the game. Now, how this actually comes to be a potential issue is a lot of people say, well, that it is being biased and unfair to people who maybe can't do or have the companion app. And while this might be true, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who do have that capability. As long as they made the companion app available on more devices than it currently is. If they could expand upon, how far they could reach out with this, or even just make a separate app altogether and not have it on a companion app, but just on, let's say, a ports app. It would be another app for them to take care of course. But it just seems like right now the companion app, while it might have its uses, I don't know of many people who actually use it. And if you really want to make it worthwhile, it would make more sense to actually have it readily available to people who want to use it and who would have a reason to use it. It's okay right now, but it could be better, if you know what I mean. So, that is one thing. Like, it would be nice just to be able, because not all of us can, well, even the people who have been playing and getting their ports up there, I'm sure some people would be more interactive with their ports if they had it with them wherever they go, of course. So that's one thing I would like to say. That's one suggestion. And the other suggestion is actually kind of a doozy one, and I'm pretty sure it's something after seeing a discussion that won't be able to be done for quite a while. But it seems like there is aspects of the issue preventing it being addressed. And what the issue is that currently the game runs off of like a certain timer and there's a delay. And that is actually an issue as far as terms as the game goes, and it is something they do want to undertake and work on and fix. They actually discuss this in one of their development diaries or behind the scenes, one of those kind of things. And it's something they do want to do in time, they just can't guarantee when or if they will. But it is a project that they do think would be very beneficial to the game in general. So once they get that squared away, the game will no longer be on the tick. Which means a lot of things would be more smooth, more fluid, which is really good in a lot of regards, especially when it comes to bossing or just regular quality of life gaming. And then also that enables them to no longer have to have the requirement of the point and click type gameplay. Now I know there's going to be a lot of people who'd be like, well, I love it because it's point and click. And it's like, that's fine, that's completely fine. But not everybody loves that aspect of it, and a lot of people would like to see, different aspects. They would like to see the WSD movement. They would love to see, controller support. And that would actually be possible Now, one thing I do love about how RuneScape and Jagged, what they've been doing is they've been creating a lot of different methods for people to actually be able to go in and play it the way they want. I mean, they have different combat modes, they have different things you can do. You can be a quester, you can be a not quester, skiller, you can be, PvPer, a whole bunch of things. So there's a lot of aspects to this game that you can do. And they've actually even had it, so you could go back and have cosmetics as, like, the original armor pieces. So it's not like they're completely ignoring people who play in the older fashion. You might have, some people might say, well, I don't like the new graphics. It's just like, well, that's one thing that's going to constantly be worked on. I mean, they've been doing that since the game first came out, so it's not like it was any kind of secret that was going to change in time. Especially when you have a game that is, constantly growing, constantly getting better. But yeah, anyway, so for as far as the idea goes, NXT came out, which improved the quality of the game, like the graphics a lot. Which NXT is also going to be able to make it so, images can render faster, things can be done faster. The next step probably would be to fix the time tick, to get rid of that, or like drastically reduce it to the point where, you could use WSE for movement. Do I keep saying E or D? Anyway, but you could keep, you could do that instead. So my suggestion to them would be, and they might already be thinking about it, but what I would like to see is I would like to see them be able to do this where they could have a point where, you can see how far you can zoom out, that's fine. And that's actually very useful at certain given points. But now the very close view is actually basically just so you can see your character. So there's not really much you can do with that. I would love to see a first-person view inside RuneScape. However, the only time that would be really useful is if, like, your back's against the wall, and that's about it, currently. Now, if you had the WSD movement, or controller support, or both, actually, it would be very useful. And now that they have stuff like Revolution, and a whole bunch of other stuff, you see, you have your ability bars, I think it would be actually a good time for them to implement something like controller support. Now this would have to be, of course, after updating the movement, fixing the time click, because you could take your controller. Now I use a PlayStation type model like that, but I don't even know if I held that right. There we go. Okay, so I use that kind of model. I mean, it's a cheap Logitech controller. It works great. I have no issue. I like this feel. To me, this is normal. The Xbox One, I just don't like their controllers. So, but either way, they have about the same type of buttons. It just depends on how you like to hold. But so, like, a first-person view would actually be really good in this game. And now this would probably be maybe a huge undertaking, maybe not. But I know this is kind of like a big, long discussion here about the graphics of the game and movement. But I think after they get, the time click fixed, and then they get the more options for controls put into it, at that point in time, there's two more things I would like to see happen with this game. And this is all about, gameplay, spreading it across, and also, well, basically gameplay in general, availability too. What I think would be really nice is actually, once they have all that done, that they try to get so they have support on both PlayStation and Xbox. Now the reason why I say that is because when you branch out like that, if you go into PS3, Xbox One, PS4, you know, like all the top two consoles, it'd be very beneficial to them to actually have it, so you know you could reach across more people, because not everybody has a PC that can support, you know, certain games. So I think that would be a good idea for this. And then once they have that support into it, I think then the final step would be, and if there's a big enough demand for it, or maybe if it's just simple enough, but to actually throw into the mix of virtual reality support. So that means you could use like Vive, you could use Oculus, you could use Morpheus. See, especially if they have it on the PS4, you could have it linked up with Morpheus and 2. And if they have the controls where, you know, you can actually move around in game with a controller, that would just bring a whole new aspect to the game. And how would this be beneficial to the game and the gamers themselves? Okay, well, the game tick itself being removed would be a huge benefit, because a lot of people would be able to actually just do combat in regular time. It wouldn't be, you know, this delayed reaction where it doesn't really seem, I know they do, but it doesn't really feel or seem like NPCs have that same delay. So that part of it would be very beneficial. A lot of people would be able to react better. Now, if you have a WASD, this would actually branch the game out to more people, and that could actually mean more revenue for the game and better turnout for the game. Now, I know some people were quite content with the population being kind of low, but for a company's growth and a game's growth, you do want more people playing. And a lot of people don't like point-and-click type games. Some people don't mind, and some people love it. But if you have more options, it creates a better overall progression for the game. And if you want, I mean, Jackets has already done this, they can even create separate servers for people who want to use WSD, you know, like separate the controls and have mixed control servers too. This way some people aren't like, well, they have benefits over me than I do. You know, you'll get that with both sides with that too. But either way, you know, the game tick would be gone for either side. Because that's something that, if they would release it, that would have to be complete. There is no separation in that one. That'd be like having two separate stats for, you know, actual mining progression for the pickaxe, when it's pretty well set standard. But, okay, so there's that. It would be very beneficial for the game, long run, for its health. Next, you know, when you have the WSD, and you have the being able to go into first person, how this is actually kind of useful is it gives the game more immersion, and it makes it better for people who'd like to actually play role-playing games, and who actually like to role-play as their character. That's also where the virtual reality would come into effect too. It would give people more of a chance to actually feel more immersed in the game world. And for a lot of the games that I've seen with, you know, virtual reality, not all of them are high-end, realistic, you know, type games. I mean, look at a lot of the PlayStation demo games, or just in general. Look at Riggs. I mean, Riggs isn't exactly realistic. You know, it's kind of has a little bit of a cartoon type spin with reality. So I mean, the games aren't all realistic looking, but the immersion is real. You know, it makes you feel like it's actually there. So I mean, that would be cool for some people. It wouldn't be for everybody, of course, but it would be for some people, and to be able to give that option, you know, if there's a big enough demand for it, would be a really good idea on their end. Now, for the final thing of actually having it across all console, all platforms. I think that'd be an amazing idea. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have, support for all three, and then have all servers for either all three or just mixed, and not tell anybody. But the reason for this would be is they would have more advertisement, they would have more revenue, they'd have more gamer players, they'd be able to reach more people. And when you can reach more people, that is always good for games. Well, not always good, but it is good for games. And usually it is very good for the growth of a company. So overall, that has been my suggestions for this week. Is a very short thing with the companion app, or just a new app in general, allowing people to do ports, and then going into the WSD movements, the game tick, which is actually planned, and then going across platforms. So I've actually talked to have people, even through the channel itself, who would like to see this game actually on like PS3 or PS4. I mean, the consoles can handle it easily. It's just the point of having the sports. I mean, there is people out there who want to play this, but they don't really either have the computer for it, or they don't have a computer. So I mean, doesn't really hurt to actually do that and have that option. And then, of course, in the end result, if enough people really want it, of course, virtual reality, which me personally, I would think would be amazing. I would definitely do it. There's a lot of aspects in this game I would love to play if virtual reality was in place. I mean, I am going to keep playing, keep enjoying the game regardless, but that would be pretty cool. So that'll do it for this week's video on Suggestion Saturday. If you have any comments below, please post them down below. I'll respond to them, in a timely fashion. I would love to have a discussion back and forth with you guys, what you think of the current ideas, previous episodes, your own ideas for suggestions in the games, and we can talk about it. I'll post it on for a video, just let me know. Until next time though, guys, later guys.